we were both wondering, Gus, when we were going through their OP.GGs and thinking, how will Ignitus approach this draft? Is the fact that I think every single member of this team wants to play an AD champion, and they have 3 effective ADCs on their team in their jungler, in their mid laner. Oh, sorry, pardon me, in their jungler. Sorry, in their mid laner, ADC, and support. I got there in the end, Gus.
Yeah, and I mean, even in the jungle too, you got Graves. This was the king of the jungle yet again. I've seen people start playing Ezreal jungle again too. Kindred is viable, so there are marksmen that can be played out of the jungle too. You can always play Lucian mid. There's all sorts of things to come out. So it just seems like this meta really just works in Ignitus's favor as we're getting into the draft. And hey, there's the ADC of the jungle being taken away right there.
Yeah, we too know that Peanut likes his Graves taken straight away. Ignitus getting rid of the flex pick. That is the Syndra, and I'm sure we're going to have quite a few more target bans coming through from the side of Cetra.
Yeah, and taking away the Syndra, just, she's flexible. You can play her bottom lane if you wish to do so, but just very strong in the mid lane. Also taking away the Zoe, another pick that can cause problems in the mid lane, especially if your mid laner isn't the kind of person that's willing to play some of the things that are traditionally picked into the Zoe. We saw the Lux, of all things, being pulled out to counteract the Zoe in pro play. I believe it was 2018 when Lux started coming back out, and then banning the Leona as well, one of the premier engaged supports in the game right now. And Cetra banning out the Mordekaiser and the Aphelios. So spreading their bans out a little more evenly than Ignitus, but we'll see. That set is available for Ignitus, so if they want to flex it around, first pick is a pretty good time to do that.
Yeah, let's see if they do first pick that up. The Mordekaiser has been taken away, one of the few AP champions that is available to Ignitus. And who would have thought it, Gus? It was like we had this predicted, the set of first picked up for Ignitus.
And see, here's the thing, though. If we knew it, you gotta believe Cetra knew that this was coming. So they should have something planned for this. If it ends up being top lane set, there are some picks that you can play into it. If you're good at Renekton, you can make that work into set. Jace is actually something I've seen come out too. You can also do what they're hovering now and pick Trundle just to steal stats from him later on. Because remember, with Trundle, if you pop your Stone Plate, he steals that health based on what it was when you started. So if you pop Stone Plate, you get subjugated. He's still stealing 24% of that health, even if your Stone Plate wears off, and the extra stuff you get from there gets taken as well. So Trundle, very good into tank compositions. Plus, we can always see Trundle support. That used to be a thing. So you never know if anyone's going to pull that one out. But Varus also being picked up. Probably just the best AD carry in the game right now.
Most likely is one of the best ADCs, maybe alongside the MF, which is an ADC we thought was going to be quite hotly contested coming into this game, at least in these picks and bans. But that said, it can flex anywhere, and the Nautilus is going to get locked in or hovered at the very least, and that's another tank that maybe Trundle can get a few stats off. But from now on, Gus, I don't think there are any more tanks. I don't think there are any more semi-tanks coming in. It's all going to be pure damage for Ignitus.
Yeah, that seems to be their MO here. And there's Kindred, the other ADC jungler, being hovered right now, but Nautilus being picked up is the other engaged tank support. Nautilus and Leona, probably the top 2 best ones right now. And there is the Kindred being locked in. So, Kindred, not the best early game, does all right for herself early on. But later on, once you get some marks, once you get some items completed, there's a lot of ways that a Kindred can take over the game. But getting the marks is hard because, especially at this level of play, people very much know how to play around the Kindred and her marks and make it hard for her to get the ones on the map. So it's going to come down to how well you can mark people and pick up the kill or assist on it to get your marks. But Ornn being locked in for Cetra, just, very solid top laner. Even after the nerf, still does what he needs to do, just one level later.
And I'm just going to bring this up. That set can still get flexed around. I mean, you called it, Gus. It can get flexed into 4 different roles, essentially. And don't forget the Ornn and maybe even the Trundle as well could get flexed. So nothing is set in stone just yet as the Corki and the Bard are taken off the table.
Yeah, and I kind of like the Bard ban. People kind of underrate Bard, I think. He deals a lot of damage, provides pretty good CC. The ult can be fight changing, and you can make good picks with it. So going up against a good Bard player, it's always something you have to keep in the back of your mind. And there is the Misfortune ban away by Cetra. So, they know that that was something that was going to be contested, but since they picked up Varus, want to take out MF, who is one of the best lane bully AD carries, who actually does scale pretty well. So taking her out definitely leaves Ignitus with less options than normal. And I believe that was LeBlanc. Pro Draft likes to bug out sometimes, but that was what was hovered.
So the LeBlanc being the final ban away from Eel, and it has been confirmed in the league chat that it was a LeBlanc ban. And I'm wondering for Ignitus now, when you do look over to Shincal, you have to think maybe the Senna, maybe the Kai'Sa to come through here.
Yeah, and it depends on how they want to play the rest of this game out. The Taric, though, man, the Cetra lineup is beefy and has a lot of ways to stop from dying right now. Not only do they have Trundle and Ornn who get incredibly tanky, but you have the Taric ult to back things up as well. If for some reason they get through to the carries of Cetra, there's the Cosmic Radiance sitting there waiting for them. So I was going to say Vayne definitely could be something that could get played here, and it is locked in. But, could potentially still be Vayne top or Vayne mid. Maybe put Vayne wherever the Ornn goes. We'll see if Ignitus wants to do some tricky shenanigans with that. But Vayne into a tank comp is really strong, especially if you're able to position effectively and keep yourself safe, because you just do so much % health true damage, and there's really not a lot of ways for tanks to itemize against that. And the Victor being locked in, there's a lot of scaling on the side of Ignitus here.
There is indeed that Vayne, the Kindred, and the Victor will be so darn strong when we do get to those later stages of the game, etc. Looking to hover the Diana to match into the Victor. Is this a pick that you like here, Gus? Oh, switch to the
Diana would be pretty okay into Victor. The big thing about that matchup is getting out of the W when you go in on him. But Azir is an entirely different champion with an entirely different playstyle into the Victor. They both just kind of chill and farm up and try to hit that magical 3-4 item late game that every scaling carry wants to hit. And it'll be interesting to see, because the Varus recently, the popular build has been to go the poke Varus, the lethality Varus with the Comet. But they still may do that because they do have Azir for late game DPS. So I would not be surprised to see poke Varus here. But on-hit Varus would be something that they could try to do as well. One thing is, though, that there is a lot of threat to a Varus without a Tom Kench or a more peel-oriented support. So blowing the Cosmic Radiance to keep the Varus safe in range, Victor and Kindred and Nautilus and Set. So I think this will probably end up being poke Varus and let Azir do the long-range DPS later on in the game. But these team comps both want to do different things. Cetra just wants to group up, get together, poke people down with this Varus, engage with the Ornhorn, have Azir go in, and if it gets turned around, they have the Cosmic Radiance to turn around a fight and try to reposition and get things in for themselves. Whereas the side of Ignitus, you've got Nautilus, you've got Set, you've got Victor and Vayne and Kindred. You're just trying to find some picks. And once you get your items going, then you can try to look to team fight, because Victor and Nautilus can put down a bunch of control in a team fight. Nautilus ult can split people up. Victor throws down his gravity field, and there's a lot, and his ultimate too is big time zone control. So there's lots of ways for Ignitus to change the way fights play out.
Yeah, and when we do talk about these team fights, I feel it's kind of similar for Cetra. They have got that disengage as well. They've got the Pillar of Ice, they've got the Chains of Corruption, they've got the Ornhorn, they've got a Cosmic Radiance, and on top of that, they have the Emperor's Divide. If Cetra don't want to take a fight, they have a lot of buttons that they can press to tell Ignitus to get out of their faces.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I'm going to be looking at here is what build the Kindred ends up deciding to go for. Because you can go for the Warrior into Black Cleaver, and then potentially like a Runons or something to help spread the Black Cleaver, get the CDR going. Or you can go Blood Razor as well on Kindred. It's not as popular, but into Ornn and Trundle and Taric, that is something that could potentially end up happening, but more than likely, the Warrior tends to be the popular build to get that CDR and AD going early. So that's what I'm looking for that. And then obviously for Victor in the mid lane against Azir, might probably get shoved in early, but once Victor backs, gets that first Hex core upgrade, gets the extra laser proc there, that is when the wave clear starts. That is when Victor feels really happy. So both of these teams, they have some scaling, but it's not hyper mega late game season 5 AP Kog'Maw mid scaling. They can fight before that. Vayne with 2 items with Blade of the Rune King and Ginsu's can start taking over fights. And once Victor has that first upgrade, even without a bunch of extra AP behind it, still can get some work done. And same thing with Azir and Varus. Once they hit that 2 items is when they can look to start doing things, but they're really looking for 3 or 4 items.
And in terms of this early game as well, where do you expect to see, the most action? Where can we expect to see maybe Peanut and Logic focusing their team's resources towards to try to get an early lead in, what are 2 comps that are exceptionally late game oriented?
Yeah, I'm going to be looking top lane for that. Everyone else should just be content sitting back and chilling. The Varus may look to get some poke down and to push Vayne in, so they will need to be wary if they're pushed in about Kindred coming in. But top lane, Set Ornn is one of those matchups, especially with Blade of the Rune King when it got those buffs where, you go the Bork and the Black Cleaver and you can really start dealing with the Ornn. And early on, Set is just very strong just with his base damages and his Q doing percent health damage on his right and left punches there. So I think top lane is probably going to be the epicenter of the early game action, but I wouldn't be surprised if Greco and 35701 got an early lead down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and of course Greco going with what we would expect to be the lethality of Varus. Whether he goes Arcane Comet or Lethal Tempo is a separate issue entirely, but potentially we could see a lot of aggression. Maybe, though, we might just see both teams just completely sitting back and look to scale up. However, we're going to be heading into a short break before we make our way into the game after a quick message from our sponsors over at Sector 6.
Started with a vision. A vision of quality, a vision of uniformity. We took the time to create something familiar yet refreshing, something with a bit of change.
Designed to fit any brand's unique vision.
so fast, all tied up like a captive. I want you. Used to pay on my life, standing on rainbows, playing it cool. I haven't felt this in ages, and I've no more patience. So won't you please stay a bit longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit longer. You're making me stronger, making me stronger. You're stronger. You're stronger.
Order is given. Soldiers, onward.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we make our way onto the Rift for Game 1 of the Upsurge Minor League Week 3 Mountain Division. Ignitus Esports over on the blue side, and on the red side is Cetra Gaming. And Gus, we were having a little bit of a discussion in the break about some of the summoners, or I should say runes that have been picked up, and, well, they've at least caught the attention of my eye.
Yeah, Hail of Blades on the Vayne. Generally you see the Vaynes take lethal tempo or press the attack. So looking for some early trading power, it looks like, in the bottom lane. You dodge out on a Varus Q, hit him with your Hail of Blades, proc the true damage. You're feeling pretty good here. It is Poke Varus, by the way. It does have the comment. Did start the corrupting potion. And then something else is the phase rush on Trundle, and we've seen phase rush on Graves, and it's a very similar concept here, where you get your autos off, you get the phase rush going, and you run behind them, and you just keep autoing them and just keep hitting them for as long as possible. And when you combine that with Nimbus Cloak, with Blue Smite, you're real sticky and can stick to people for a very long time. So, and same thing with Victor, taking phase rush, same idea here. Hit him with your spells. Then you got movement speed to choose whether you go in or out.
As we saw Shinnamin and Period just having some fun, getting those stacks on the old pec muscles. And, well, I'm sure Shinnamin's going to have an absolutely ripped torso very shortly. As a Dazzle coming through in the ball lane, a lot of damage. Heal already getting used. And now Shinka looking to turn things around onto 35. Not going to quite be able to find the damage. Just trade in the bot lane.
Yeah, part of me thinks that 35701 thought he had Ignite instead of Heal. And there's that Hail of Blades. You see, being able to do the quick trades, and there's a hook.
Stretch line, Dazzle will be able to find his mark as Wizard takes a fair amount of damage. The heal comes through from Shinkala. Now, both heals have been used in the bottom lane.
Yeah, both heals. Ignite is down. Greco still has Barrier, though, so it will be hard to fully finish him off without mispositioning or a fantastic hook. Here's level 2, though.
It's another hook coming in. The damage, surely first blood. Flasher forward. Shinkal picks up first blood for Ignitus. And now they look for Greco as well. Shinkal will take the double.
Yeah, and that is about as perfect of an early game as you can get for a Vayne. You get that first blood. You get the double kill. All the summoners are blown now except for Wizard of Diablo's Flash. So, he can look to make Flash hook plays now. Knowing that Greco won't have Barrier for a little while, won't have Flash. 35701 doesn't have either summoner either. So this is the Nautilus dream right now, where you can just kind of go in with impunity.
Yeah, and this is something that I was considering in the draft phase as well, because so often you do underestimate that Vayne damage early, and, well, clearly is caught out the side of Cetra Gaming.
Yeah, but one thing that they do have to be cognizant of is Peanut's getting caught out here a little bit.
Peanut will try to dash away, flashes over the Drake pit as top laners Shinnamin and Peridian are having a nice old trade. Peanut was able to escape, having burnt his flash. Both flashes down for the junglers.
Yeah, and the thing I was talking about before the action was Tarek does do a lot of damage and can auto attack very quickly with his passive. So, you do have to be wary that at this point in the game, I think Tarek might be able to do more straight up DPS in terms of auto attacks than Varus can. So in the bottom lane, Shincal and Wizard of Diablo just need to not get too overconfident. You know, they've got a lead. Vayne has the Berserker Greaves already. He's looking real good, but they can't just get lazy and just kind of go in over and over again without thinking it through.
Yeah. But the Berserker Greaves have been picked up by Shincal, so no matter how quickly 701 can auto-attack, I'm sure Shincal will be able to auto-attack almost at double the speed already. Very nice early lead, 2-0 on the Vayne, and you know, sporting what is now a 1k gold advantage for the side of Ignitus Esports, with the Mountain Drake spawning in just over 20 seconds time.
And it'll be interesting to see if MU Logic goes for an early Drake. He's pathing up towards top side right now. So we'll see if he's going to try and do something top or go down to try and get the early Drake, but there's the dredge line.
The dredge line comes in, but Shincal not in a position to support his support in the attack. And it will just be a dredge line for nothing as 701
Ooh, Hail of Blades.
Hail of Blades, Silver Bolts is a pretty nice combo, it seems. But whether that scales as well as maybe the Lethal Tempo would have later in the game, we'll have to wait and see.
Yep, we will. You know, at this point, when your Vayne's as strong as Vayne is right now, you know, you're feeling pretty good on the side of Ignitus right now. That even if things get rough in the mid game, the Vayne with this extra gold lead will be able to pull through to the 2-item spike at least. And, you know, Wizard Diablo just looking, just on the hunt for some free hooks. But Peanut is behind them in the jungle, so we'll see if they end up trying to force a dive. If the wave doesn't get thinned out here, they have a bit of an opportunity to go for it if they really wanted to.
Yeah, Wizard of Diablo, he's just fishing, and this time he might have just about found his fish. Shincal will tumble forward, looks for the damage. Oh, the Condemn comes through, not quite enough to find a kill as, well, Peanut is just sitting close by looking for something, but just more damage coming through from the bot lane of Ignitus, and maybe it's just a matter of when, and not if. Whoa! Oh, there's another dredge line, in they go, Shincal onto the killing spree. The TP in for Cetra Gaming. The Conquering Sands, but the TP comes through from the side of Ignitus as well. Conqueror comes in, and that will be enough to force Cetra away. 3 kills on the Vayne.
Yeah, and that was actually both TPs out of Yule and Peridian, and Shincal's looking for more, but is caught out.
Overstep. The Dazzle comes in. Call of the Forge God. Shincal gets taken down. Shut down for Peridian. Now Wizard is on the run, but Eel is here. It's a 4v1. Wizard will fall. Double kill for Peridian.
And that's just them getting caught out a little bit. Shincal walked on up. Fantastic pillar at MU Logic to really lock the Vayne in place, picking up the kill, and then Wizard of Diablo had no chance in the 4v1. So Ignitus is getting a little bit on the greedy side there, trying to go back in for that farm and go in for that Hail of Blades proc. And they're going to give up a dragon and give up a couple kills, but they still are in the gold lead by about 1,300.
1,300, a lot of that coming courtesy of Shinneman, picking up a few turret plates topside. Also, just to clarify, that was his Shincal's over-aggression, not the side of Ignitus, so that was all on him.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, you get feeling the mojo here is Vayne, and you know, not quite Vayne spotting, but we're that was getting close to Vayne spotting territory.
Can we just mention though how incredible that dredge line was from Wizard of Diablo? That was a hint. I don't think if that gap was any smaller, his hook would have been able to fit.
Yeah, and they blew Greco's barrier right before that too. So when your spells are down as a Varus, man, you have to really watch your P's and Q's there, because and now they're going to be hitting level 6 here soon. So you see Logic is just backing them up just to make sure that they can push in this wave safely without Nautilus getting another hook and picking up another kill.
The 6
and
is
so
here as well now.
Yeah, they end up having to trade the jungler's time and presence on the map to make sure that they don't die again. And that's kind of the life of a Varus without a Tom Kench there to save your life, unfortunately.
I mean, he does have a turret to save his life. However, a turret can only save your life once he has that level 6. Once that Cosmic Radiance is available. But Wizard of Diablo, he is not gelling. This is the most aggressive fishing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he can continue to do it, especially once they get eyes onto Logic up there in the top side. Then they'll know for sure that he's not sitting there waiting. And at this point, the lane is his. He is in control of the lane 100% as long as Logic's not there. As long as they're even in numbers, the Nautilus reigns supreme right now.
And what I want to see next, to be honest, from Ignitus is, this Rift Herald is available, another dredge line in, but Shinkal is just not there to follow up. But he turns up at the end, finds a fair bit of damage onto 701, and will be able to even up the trade. But Wizard of Diablo, he is not scared going in, even if Shinkal is about 2 miles away.
Yeah, and you see him just looking for hook after hook. Ended up hitting a minion there, but man, the good thing for Greco is that barrier has a really low cooldown, so he does have the barrier up more often than the heal. I believe it's the same cooldown as Ignite, and he's even looking to tower dive a little bit, throwing hooks out like that.
I'm just going to put out a disclaimer to everyone watching on Twitch. Don't do this in solo queue, because you will get flamed for your ADC for being quote-unquote over-aggressive, and I wasn't ready.
Or you pull one of my friends, Chris. He's famous for hooking a tower as Nautilus and killing himself like that. So that's a fun little meme we have in our friend circle. But Logic getting chased down a little bit.
Yep. And the Peridian cannot even come at 2v6
red
buff. Hey, the killer comes in for Pina. He gets his first of the game. And now they collapse onto Peridian. He's forced to flash away.
Mounting dread.
Yeah, it takes so much damage does Peridian. And this is probably going to be the Rift Herald going the way of Ignitus's. Well, Wizard and Shinkal, they're just pushing in on the bot lane. Everything going the way of Ignitus right now.
Yeah, and you see Kindred did go for the Warrior, so valuing that CDR early on, and it came in clutch there after flashing in. But Peridian...
The damage, one more! Peanut picks up his second of the game, and Shinamin set that all up for his jungler. 5 kills for Ignitus.
Yeah, and this is Ignitus's game to lose from this point on, honestly. Once your Kindred gets ahead, once your Vayne gets ahead, things are looking really good. Let's see, how many marks does Peanut have? Has 4, so has the first range upgrade on the Kindred, has Tarek marked right now, so, we'll see what's going on, but Shinaman getting that first tower too, just blowing up this gold lead to about 4,000 already at 12 minutes, or just before 12 minutes.
Oh, I'm just looking at Wizard of Diablo, and I'm just thinking, when is he going to go in? He's got ult available. Shinkal has ult. He wants to go in. And considering Wizard is an ADC main as well, I don't know how he's playing this aggressive. I always thought ADCs like to play safe. Turret dive now coming in for the side of Cetra. Good stopwatch in. Cosmic Radiance comes through. Flash away will not deny the piercing arrow. And that will be 1 kill going the way of Cetra Gaming.
Yeah, and now that 701 has hit level 6, you have to play around the Cosmic Radiance timer because, it obviously makes you invulnerable. So Nautilus wants to go in and burst someone down while he's got them CC'd, so he's got to make sure to time it. But Shinkal...
Oh no, he stepped forward again. Chains of Corruption. But the damage is actually pretty incredible. Can he actually outplay this? Peanut is here. The TP comes in. How Shinkal got punished, I don't know. Yeah, he does have his flash, though. Was that just the epic bait and switcheroo from Shinkal? As now it's 701 who might have overstepped his mark. Flash up forward into the Faithbreaker. Dazzle comes through. Ignite on top. Wizard of Diablo says, get away from that, Peanut. That's my kill.
Yeah, that was definitely not Shinkal pulling off some sort of master class of the epic bait there. That was him getting caught out and just being vain against Poke Varus, who was pretty didn't have enough mana to really shoot anything after the ultimate came out. So just really lucky that Varus had a serrated Dirk and not anything attack speed. But now chasing down Ornn.
Yep, and Shinkal is just going to run down the forge here. Man, won't be able to find a kill, but so many times I watch these games and I think, this ADC and support, they're not made for each other. Shinkal and Wizard of Diablo, one of them goes aggressive, then the other one says, no, I'm going to be more aggressive than you. And it just keeps on going. They're just battling with each other for who is a crazier in lane.
Yeah, and fortunately for Cetra, Taric is good at stopping crazy. Right? You can stun them up if they're running at you. You've got your Cosmic Radiance, so it really just comes down to the timing on the Cosmic Radiance. That's kind of the whole linchpin of any team composition that has Taric in it, is using that effectively. Because if you waste it, it's a really long cooldown. At this point in the game, it's 180 seconds, so 3-minute cooldown at this point in the game before any substantial CDR gets built. So definitely got to watch out and make sure you use it correctly.
Speaking of items, first items have been picked up from everyone. Dredgeliner, goodbye, or maybe not just yet. Top water comes in, Call of the Fortune. Peanut already picks up a 1 as a Lamb's Respite comes through. Eel getting right in. Hour comes the death ray. Eel finds the kill, but he gets it taken down as well. It is a 2 for 2, 2 for 3 now as Greco picks up the shutdown as well. And Cetra win their first fight of the night.
That was a fantastic Emperor's Divide right as the Lamb's Respite ended, making sure that the side of Ignitus couldn't do any damage while they were being pushed away as the heal came down, giving him enough time and the rest of Cetra time to do some damage. And a fantastic flash from Shinkel there to get to the correct side of the Blast Cone while he was rooted up by the Chains of Corruption to get himself out of there. But Cetra trying to come on back. They're still down about 3,000 gold now. But, they do have an Azir. So, the late game is there. However, you're up against Victor and Vayne with a Poke Varus, who does scale all right, but is nothing compared to the on-hit Varus late game in terms of team fights. But, Cetra is not completely out of the game, especially since Ignitus, I said they had it in control, but they're kind of running in and, being over-aggressive like we were talking about.
Yeah, they are being over-aggressive. And don't forget, that fight was a 5v4 in favor of Cetra Gaming. Shinneman was on the bottom side of the map. That's all coming through, but Peanut would be able to get to the blast cone right
no Lamb's Respite.
It's forced to flash over the wall. Might actually be able to escape this one, and indeed he will. But Peanut burning the flash, and, well, steps up like that again. He will most certainly be getting taken down.
Yeah, and we do have, finally, the Cinderholt coming out for Logic. Had to take a bit of a detour to get the Ninja Tabbies and another cloth armor. So, as this Trundle and Orange scale up, things will start to get a bit better for Cetra. We're still waiting on the Orin upgrades because those provide quite a bit of gold. I believe they're about 1,600 gold worth of stats, each of them. So that's quite a bit of gold to be given away to your team. But for Poke Varus, it's kind of hard. I think Yomu's is the only one of the typical Varus build that actually has an Ornn upgrade. So we'll see if that's what Greco gets here next, or if he goes Duskblade, because you want to get an Edge of Night in there as well for the spell shield. So the Ornn upgrade probably going to be saved up for Yule at first.
Yeah. But again, what can you upgrade on Yule? Because Nash's Tooth does not get upgraded by the Ornn, does it?
Yeah, you're probably waiting for like a third item Death Cap would be my guess here. Because you can't upgrade Zonya's, but that's kind of meh. You can't upgrade Ludens, but Azir doesn't necessarily always build Ludens. So I think Death Cap is the answer to that one. So we'll see what he ends up upgrading. Obviously, his items will get upgraded first. We'll upgrade the Sunfire Cape and the Abyssal Mask once that's completed. And yeah, just kind of in a bit of a lull state right now. We got Dragon coming up in about 35 seconds, so look for these teams to get some more vision, and they're fishing for picks right now. And it looked like Wizard was looking. I bet you his finger over his Q was getting a little itchy there.
Two things that go together better than Wizard and fishing? I think not. Rifthold is getting started up. I mean, not quite a fish, so I mean, Wizard won't be content with hooking that.
Yeah, and I think they're valuing this Rifthold more to break open mid, and Cetra is just going to have to take this trade for the Air Drake, I do believe. They do have the numbers advantage there, but we'll see if Ignitus wants to come down and fight for it.
Do Ignitus want to take a fight? I'm gonna guess that yes, they do. Whether they can get the Drake, no, they cannot. So I guess Ignitus for once are playing a little bit more on the conservative side.
Yeah, Shinneman's on a flank though. Here comes Called Forge God.
Quarter of the Forge God comes in. The Lamb's Respite is available. Peanut on his way, looking for some damage, but Peridian. Oh, that is a really nice suplex, pulling Peridian in, but the Cosmic Radiance comes through. Out comes the Death Ray as well as the Azir turret will get summoned. No kills are coming through, just a lot of damage.
Yeah, and that was about as good of a set ultimate as you could hope for. Throwing the Ornn into his team. Just has the Blade of the Rune King though, so not a real ton of damage coming out of there, but that was good. And it shows you Ignitus understands how their team comp functions. You know, Set's in there to interrupt. Once they lived through the Call of the Forge God, they found a way to get back in and force Cetra on back. So, you know, as long as they can maintain this gold lead and not funnel into a spot where the Azir can really punish them, they should have a pretty decent time in wading through these team fights.
Yeah, and I think that's something really important that you mentioned, you know, not taking fights in these enclosed spaces. You don't want to fight, you know, in the narrow passages of the jungle if you're the side of Ignitus. Open spaces, you want Shincal to have as much space as possible with those tumbles. Ooh. And the same for Peanut with the Dance of Arrows. Eel just trying to get off some damage onto Aethys.
Yeah, and Yul does have the mid-game power spike here. Got the Oblivion Orb with the Sword Shoes. So it does have the most pure magic pen that you can get in terms of flat pen. So is on a pretty decent power spike right now, able to do some damage to Aethys, Shinkel, and Peanut. And we'll do a bit to Shinneman as well. So this is a bit of a power spike. We'll see if Cetra wants to do anything. There are really no objectives up right now, though. Obviously, Baron's alive, but at about the 20-minute mark, no one's really going to be trying to take it. But we do see Greco did get the Yomus, so that will be available to be upgraded once Peridian hits the correct level to do so. And yeah, another lull state. We're just waiting for some objective to come up or someone to get caught out.
Yeah, and it's like with the fights that we have been seeing before, both teams just have great ways of, well, disengaging from these fights. If you're the side of Ignitus, you've got that Lamb's Respite, and if you're on the side of Cetra Gaming, you have got that Cosmic Radiance, which came through as such a clutch moment in the last fight to deny all of the damage from the suplex, which pulled Peridian back into Cetra. But I'll be interested to see how both of these teams do approach that next fight, which most surely is going to be coming at some point soon.
Yeah, and one thing to look at is Shinkel did pick up a QSS, so really just looking to get on in to a fight. And like the only thing I can really think that's worth QSSing is a Taric stun. So Shinkel is imagining himself right up close and personal with the Taric in these fights.
Varasol as well. He has been caught by that.
Oh, that's very fair.
Yeah.
Like
and
that.
There you go. Hey! Well, that's, I think the gold one. Oh my god!
QSS doesn't matter when you get poked down like that.
Nope. Should have got GA, I don't know. Anyway, the side of the Cetra Gaming going in under turret, they get pulled in. That's the vision coming in. Cosmic Radiant, stopwatch of Peanut just looking to kite flashes forward. The piercing arrows are coming through. Peanut in the Lamb's Respite looking for something. Flash in by 701, and he will walk it out. Forth now comes in looking for Shinneman. Dazzle will be up as soon, but Shinneman doesn't really seem to care. Steps forward quite aggressively, but no further kills. Just Shincal falling, and now Greco flash forward, piercing arrow won't quite connect onto Peanut there.
That was both bottom laners of Cetra using their flash to try and pick off Peanut. 701 flash to try to stun him in the end of the Lamb's Respite. Yep. And then Greco tried to flash with the piercing arrow there to make it happen. And neither one of them were successful. And here's the final hour.
Shincal wants revenge, but he gets stunned down. Oh, the healing almost saves him, but he will get taken down. Yul coming in a clutch for his ADC. And Shincal will go back into the Nether Realm once again. Yeah,
and you know, watching Shincal play this Vayne, I think Cleanse would have had some real value here. So that way the Varus, because when you poke Varus, you have a bunch more CDR, so your ultimate is up pretty much all the time. So having the Cleanse on the Vayne, for lane phase you can get out of Taric stun. Later on, you can get out of the Varus ult as well. So having Cleanse and a QSS would be pretty good for the way Shincal plays.
Well,
but
Shinraman's getting
still just
collapsed
really
on.
going in.
Yeah, the side of Ignitus, they just go in, and they go in some more. The suplex comes through, pulls Peridian under turret range, but there won't be quite enough damage as Peanut just looks to find a little bit of extra damage, but that will be all. All members of Ignitus up, as is the second Cloud Drake of the game.
Yeah, and they're burning it down real quick. We'll see if Peanut can get in.
He will go in, won't get hit by the dazzle, won't be able to find the steal, and will get taken down. Call of the Forge God. Cetra Gaming are not done yet. They'll be able to find a Shin Cal, but good deny from Wizard of Diablo with the depth charge. And, well, Gus, we said that this was a game for Ignitus to lose, and it looks like they might be throwing it all away.
Yeah, it's starting to look that way. They still do have pretty good scaling. You know, you still have Victor, you still have Vayne, but you gotta be in a position to fight on your terms. And when Nautilus is kind of your only long-range engage, it makes it hard to really find the correct way into a fight, because you can throw down a depth charge on a priority target, and there's a Call of the Forge God and a Cosmic Radiance to come on down and prevent you from following up on it, and gives Cetra time to reposition and get themselves ready to go back in. And it's going to get hard for them to actually 5v5 team fight, especially now that they're at Soul Point. Now Cetra has the pressure on when this next dragon comes up to kind of force them to get over here for the soul, because while the air drakes themselves, the ultimate CDR is nice and all, the actual air soul gives you that bonus movement speed. And when you are a team that is Ornn and Trundle and Varus trying to run at you, having that extra movement speed and the movement speed after you ult is going to be crazy.
Yeah. I think it'll also be very nice as well for 701 when he drops it down that Cosmic Radiance. Says, here goes Ignitus. They find Cetra. Do they find the damage? No, not quite, but so much damage with the death ray, forces the flash from Eel, but Greco picks up the kill onto a Peanut, and it's just one kill, and it goes the way of a Cetra, their 10th kill of the game.
Yeah, and I think Peanut went in just a bit too early. Could have waited for the gravity field to come out first before he went on in, try to buy that extra tick for the stun to potentially come out. But either way, fantastic stuff from Yule to make it out of that alive. They did burn Aethys's flash as well, so more prizes, and they're on the Baron.
Yep. Also, just want to point out, Shinkal not too far away from his Rage Blade, and that will be a big pickup. Shinraman, no TP, and it looks like the Baron will be going the way of Cetra, although they look to turn on to a Wizard. The damage coming through, but the Stoneblade buying as much time as possible. Wizard with the flash away, and Ignitus with the successful Baron defense.
Yeah, it's hard for Cetra to really do the Baron. Like, Varus still does do % health damage with the poke build, but they're going to try and catch out Shinkel.
Searing charge, the QSS does nothing. Flash out of the double dazzle will keep Shinamina going, but that's another turret going the way of Cetra Gaming. What a ward, what a catch, the true champions of fishing. Wizard is not happy with that.
Yeah, and now without Shinkel coming in to try and clean up, they can really try to turn on this Baron, but you know, there is that MR debuff that goes around with Baron, so Victor is still a bit of a threat.
Well, the turn again. This time it's Shinraman that gets caught. However, once again, Ignitus had denied the Baron. The Cosmic Radiance is forced as well. And I think Ignitus will be happy with another successful Baron defense.
Yeah, and now the gold lead is only 500. Practically negligible at this point in the game. And now you're staring down an Azir with 4 kills. He is going Zhonya's, so he is worried about getting picked off, so he won't have that crazy strong third item Rabadon's upgraded by Ornn power spike, as we do see the Yomus did get upgraded. So that is a bit delayed, so Azir looking for the 4 item big time power spike here. And on the other side, Aethys on the Victor hasn't really accomplished a whole lot so far in this game. Obviously, Victor has a lot of range, wave clear, and the ability to chase people down, so plenty of time for him to come on through on this pick. But at this point, Yule has had way more impact in the game.
So 701, he steps forward, he gets a little bit caught out as topside Peridian just pushing the way through. Because it's time for one of Milky's games, and this time it's Milky's tour through history. Oh my god, the damage is disgusting. That was over a third of his health bar gone. But I just wanted to say, Gus, do you remember back when Shincal was 3-0 and we thought he was going to solo carry this game, like 5 minutes in?
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah. Well, he's now 3-4. He's not had a nice game since those early kills. But he does have a Rage Blade picked up, the TP coming in, and the Drake has been started. Don't forget, this is soul point for the side of Cetra Gaming, and the Drake has been started. Peridian has a TP'd in, could look for the flank. Drake down to 3,000 HP. Lancer Spike could buy some time. The steal comes in. Peanut coming in clutch, but can Ignitus win the fight? The Lancer Spike is down. So is a Cosmic Radiant. So much damage, but who is coming out on top?
Well, he got his ear
so far. They do get his ear. The Emperor's Divide is too little, too late. Wizard of Diablo will survive, and he is on the run. Flash forward. He CC's down Greco, but is not going to be enough. Grego picks up the kill, and it is a 2-4-2, but crucially, Ignitus, they get the Drake, and they deny the soul from Cetra Gaming.
Yeah, and now we'll see what Cetra can get out of their team fight. Kind of a team fight win. It went even, but now they're the ones with map priority here. But I don't think they're really going to be able to accomplish a whole lot. They can go back and get vision on around the Baron area, but other than that, you know, it's just kind of Peanut did really good for his team there to take that dragon. We'll just say that kind of kept the game on their terms. Now they're not staring down an Elder Drake the next time there's a dragon fight.
No, they are not. And I'm just trying to remember as well, Gus, who picked up the shutdown onto Eel? Was it Aethys?
Yes, it was Aethys. So that one kill he got was worth a lot. He got an extra 400 gold on that, has his Lichbane completed now on the Victor, and that is the perfect Hex Core completed, which does give 160 ability power. So it's a pretty strong item to have there. It's essentially a Rabadon's before you get a Rabadon's, or you might not even need a Rabadon's on your Victor. We'll see what he ends up building here with that Amp Tome. Probably needs a Void Staff, considering that he's staring down a Trundle and an Ornn and a Taric. But now Aethys is strong. Now we welcome him to the game.
Yes. Good evening, Aethys. How has your early game been? Not very nice, but is online now. Let's see what he can do. Peanut. Again, those piercing arrows from Greco are so scary. And just to give everyone a quick stats check. Cinnamon, TP, check. Peridian, TP,
Yeah, so...
Oh my...
Ooh. Oh, I thought someone was down there. But just the minions, just trying to clear it out here. Baron is still alive. And we've seen Cetra try to get this Baron a few times now and haven't been able to do it. That is one disadvantage of Poke Varus, is that you're missing out on some DPS to do Baron. Although Azir at this point should provide enough DPS for him to threaten it. You can use the Varus to kind of poke people and ward them away from the pit, especially now that he has Lord Dominic's finished as well. So there isn't a whole lot of armor built up on the side of Ignitus anyway, but now he's just kind of preempting any armor that they will end up building. Pretty much just Wizard of Diablo has some armor right now.
And when that armor does come through, I am looking for that GA to get picked up by Shincal, especially after this Seal item is completed, as that should deny a lot of that Greco lethality. Also starting to see a little bit of grievous wounds coming in Peridian. With that Thorn Mail, you got the Morello for Eel. And I have... Actually, no, the Last Whisper is what has been picked up for Greco, not the... Oh, what do you even call it now? I can't remember.
He has the Lord Dominic, so that's the completed item.
Mortal Reminder, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Mortal Reminder, the one with the grievous wounds, yeah. Yes. But looking at Peanut and Shimon, they both do have their Black Cleavers completed. So there is a bunch of armor shred for Peridian and Logic there. So we'll start to see Peanut do a bit more damage in these fights now, because with Blade of the Ruined King and Black Cleaver and the Warrior and Grievous Wounds, this Kindred is still pretty strong. It's just a matter of staying alive and staying in a position to actually be able to do damage.
So pardon me, not Black Cleaver. Is Blade of the Ruined King just the new OP item that Triforce was about 3-4 patches ago?
For melee champions, it is, yes, because it got buffed to do 12% of your current health instead of 8, whereas it's 8% for ranged characters such as Vayne and Kindred. But for Kindred against tanks, getting Blade of the Ruined King is fine, and it's just a really good item on Vayne because it synergizes so well with her kit. And we're seeing the two-man Baron start up with Azir and Trundle.
Yeah, man, they have the damage.
They'll get this if they're not checked.
Well, Aethys is on his way, and he can one-shot Logic as well, who is significantly low. Look at the damage.
He's going to get him both.
Too much than they can chew. Here comes Ignitus. They find one. Logic gets taken down. Thank you for the Baron. Ignitus takes the Baron. They take 2 kills. Cloud Drake is up as well. And Cetra, they try the tricky play, but it does not pay off.
Yeah, and man, it's really rough to be in that situation because you have flash to try and get out, but if you flash out and get out, you give it away for free. You feel like you have to stay in there to just try and smite it away, but it ended up being catastrophic. They lost Baron, they lost another chance at Soul, and now both teams are on Soul. Both teams have the 20% ultimate CDR, and now the gold lead is back up to 4,000 plus.
And a game where Ignitus started off strong, then almost threw it away. Cetra Gaming were in control, but Ignitus were able to stall out. Dredgeline in, looking for more damage. Call of the Forge God comes through. Does not going to be able to land on to anyone, and neither will the Forge God itself, as a steering charge will take Peridian out of the Death Ray. And again, no more kills are coming in, Gus, as Ignitus are happy with the inner turret.
Yeah, and that's what they wanted to do. They got a turret with the Baron. They're going to get their reset off here, and then they'll still have a little bit of Baron to try and regroup and see if they can't push into something else. But, it just bought them a lot of time. So now that they are on Soul Point themselves, they're feeling really confident right now. But Yule is pretty close to finishing the Rabadons. It will not be upgraded, however, because he already upgraded the Zhonya's to the Zhonya's Paradox, which does just give more AP and armor. So no Rabadon's Death Crown to come out unless he sells the Zhonya's, buys Rabadon's, gets it upgraded, and then buys the Zhonya's later. But that seems like a real inefficient use of gold for just a bit more AP. So just the Rabadons to come on out. And then the Locket was upgraded by Ornn as well as the Redemption into Salvation. So Ornn's done.
Yeah, my job's done. I can go and sit in the side lanes and now just press R every now and again. You guys better win the team fight.
Yeah, and we're looking here. Set has an Aegis of the Legion as well. So I imagine that's probably going to end up being a Death Dance. Going to come on out there. Peanut has a Hex Drinker. And Victor bought a Zhonya's Hourglass and now has a Blasting Wand for his Void Staff. So we're getting to that point where people are starting to get close to being full build. So this is coming down to teamfight execution here.
I'd also like to add, if you haven't already, make sure to hit up Upsurge with a follow on Twitch. For every follow we get, there is an extra 1% chance that Shinnamin and Logic can get a kill in this game.
Oh man!
Maybe. Let's see.
Full tank Trundle getting kills is kind of interesting to think about here, but Set building damage items should have an opportunity.
I'm sorry, Gus, but if 701 and Wizard of Diablo have kills, Logic is entitled to kills. Okay.
We'll see. It has to be something like a fadeaway subjugate kill or something. That would be pretty cool.
Or when we saw Wizard just drop igniting someone when they were on 2
Yeah.
HP to get a kill. That was
He's an 80 carry main, he's bloodthirsty. It's all good.
They're all at 80 carry mains on Ignitus. However, with that being said, we do have our final Elemental Drake of the game spawning in 1.5 minutes at time. Both teams onto Solar Point, and well, who do you think that Soul Drake would benefit more here, Gus?
It would definitely have to be Cetra because their ults are their engage tools, right? You got the Varus ult, you've got the Call of the Forge God. You can run on in with the Ornn with the movement speed after the Call of the Forge God and keep disrupting people. You can call down the Cosmic Radiance to get a speed up to run in and stun people up. So if Cetra gets the soul, they're feeling pretty good.
Also, we have our first member to hit full build. Congratulations, Aethys. Has picked up that Void Stuff, as you mentioned earlier, Gus. So, you know, he's got the Magic Pen. He's got the damage. This guy is big.
Yeah, and now 701, but there's a lot of damage on the Peanut.
Chains of Corruption misses its mark. Peanut will just content himself with the Scuttle Crab and does have some nice lifesteal with that Blade of the Rune King. So, can heal up.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Gonna need to
Those
heal
are
up.
scary. Yeah.
And he can't really back because there's only 20 seconds left before this next Drake comes up. So he's just going to have to lifesteal off the Krugs. Should get back up pretty close to full. One thing I'd like to point out is Shincal bought a Runon's Hurricane on Vayne. Now, that doesn't spread silver bolts everywhere, but it gives the highest movement speed out of these Zeal items that Riot just buffed. So I think he's prioritizing the movement speed on this compared to like the Phantom Dancer, which is what you would generally see in this sort of situation. So really just prioritizing moving as quickly as possible, especially if they get the air soul. But here comes the teleport.
Chains of Corruption misses its mark, but that will not push Cetra back. In they go. Look at the damage with the Call of the
Oh my God,
they
that
all
Chaos
grow up.
Storm.
The Chaos Storm is huge, and Ignitus will run the Cetra down. The double kill push in the cow.
He's going to get a kill.
He's gonna do it! He gets the ace! Shitterman will pick up the kill, and it looks like that might be a GG. The team that has every member picking up the kill will most likely win the game. The TP coming in now just to push it forward as quickly as humanly possible. 701 is up in 17 seconds. The game was on a knife's edge, but when it counted, it was Ignitus that stepped up. The series is not over yet. Ignitus take game one.
Yeah, and everything went Ignitus's way in that last fight. You saw them get ripped up and just absolutely destroyed by the laser and the Chaos Storm. The Cosmic Radiance was on its way down, but Victor had already bursted everyone down to low health by the time the Cosmic Radiance came in, and everyone just exploded at that point. And that's the power of Victor. Like we said, we welcomed him to the game at like 25 minutes or so into the game. And he came up clutch. He ended up not having a kill for a long time, ended up 4-1-6 with the game-winning ultimate pretty much. Like it looked like a really good Call of the Forge God from Peridian, and just got completely stuffed by the Chaos Storm and Death Laser.
And that could have been so much difference if that Cosmic Radiance had come down early. If I'm not mistaken, they all died just before that Cosmic Radiance landed.
Yeah, so just and that's Taric. That's the double edge of Taric is yes, the ultimate is extremely powerful, but you not only have to time it correctly, but people have to be positioned correctly to make it happen too. And you know, you may hit it 99 out of 100 times, but that one time that you miss it may end up costing you a game. And it's not like it was 701's fault by any means. It was just a fantastic read from Aethys to recognize I can burst them real quick. Just watch. Boom, quick burst as it's coming down, and ended up being the game-winning play.
I just also want to point out as well, if we do take a look at damage, Aethys and Eel, they both pretty much did more than double the damage of anyone else on their teams, respectively. Absolute insanity. But, Gus, a game that's balanced on the knife's edge, and I'm expecting the series to be balanced on a knife's edge as well. Final thoughts before we do head into a break before game two.
Just, if Ignitus had their mid-game a little bit cleaner, they would have just ran this game through, I think. But Cetra did a very good job of capitalizing on their mistakes. And even if I'm not so sure this is going to be a quick 2-0, because Cetra had their moments where they looked really good as well.
Exactly so. But make sure to stay tuned. We're going to be heading into a short break. where we will be right back with Game 2 between Ignitus Esports and Cetra Gaming. See you in a bit.
Stay a bit longer, you're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit longer, you're making me stronger, making me stronger.
back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Upsurge Minor League Week 3 as Ignitus Esports look to make it 2-0 against Cetra Gaming, having taken a game 1 after what was a topsy-turvy game. And Gus, recap for us, what do you want to see Cetra Gaming do differently heading into game 2?
Well, looking back at the game 1 draft, I don't really have problems with it. I mean, the draft is pretty solid. I mean, the Trundle ended up not being able to accomplish a whole lot, so maybe a different style of jungler is in order here, or maybe just a different pick for a tank, maybe bust out the Zac or Sejuani or something instead of Trundle. But honestly, Cetra's team comp was pretty good, so I don't have an issue with that. It's just what ended up happening in the game. There was just a couple of fights that went wrong, especially that last one where they got a good call of Forge God off onto multiple people and just got bursted out by a Victor before anyone could respond. And for the side of Ignitus, they just need to clean up their mid game, because once they kind of started rotating around the map a little bit is when they started to fall apart a little bit. And Cetra, when they started baiting the Baron, they got some kills, but then they tried to two-man that Baron, and that's kind of where the game fell apart for them.
And I actually want to look over to Ignitus Esports as well a bit. Put Shinkal on something aggressive. I mean, Shinkal and Wizard of Diablo, they're playing like they're playing, I don't know, Callista Thresh or something like that. They didn't play like they were playing Vayne and Nautilus. I want to see them on something aggressive. Put Peter on something that can kind of synergize with that and let these guys have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, Lucian got buffed, right? He got his double shot damage increase. So, you know, I know a lot of people that play Lucian are happy about that. So we'll see if something like that ends up coming out. But I'm excited to see what draft has in store here, because game 1 was a tale of both these teams having opportunities to seal the deal and just couldn't quite get it done. So we'll see if Cetra can turn it around, or if Ignitus is just going to find that miracle catch out again to really turn the game on its head.
And speaking of picks and bans, do you think there's going to be any drastic changes to the bans, or at least the first 3 bans from both sides?
As far as the first 3 bans go, they seem pretty standard. They just seem like things you don't want to. I mean, Cetra's probably not going to ban Graves on blue side if they're willing to play it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Graves probably the strongest jungler in the game right now, probably even contender for strongest champion in the game right now, even after the little nerf he took to his Q, where it scales a bit less off the base AD. But we'll see exactly where their priorities lie, because we know Ignitus loves to flex the set. And Cetra didn't seem too interested in trying to ban her as we're going into draft here. So
here we go.
There's Mordekaiser.
Yep. Exactly what we expected. The Syndra taken away from Cetra. Syndra blue side first pick it's just a thing as Graves is taken away. And I'm interested to see whether the Varus will actually get taken away here as well, as it was a pretty strong in game 1. Nautilus and Zoe are the other 2 bans.
Yeah, so taking away the Nautilus and Ignitus taking away the Leona leaves up the Aphelios, which does get first picked. And there's not really the, hey, I press a button and I'm on you support to really threaten the Aphelios with Nautilus being gone. And Leona being gone as well. And there's the set Misfortune. So if those 2 end up going bottom lane, that's a really strong bully lane. We'll see what support Cetra wants to try and pair with the Aphelios. Because there's lots of options. You can go for something that can engage and can, you know, help the Aphelios start fights. You can go with an Enchanter to try and protect the Aphelios. Lulu has been gaining some popularity lately. We'll see. Oh, but there's Bard. Without banning Bard, I think Bard pairs pretty good with Aphelios.
And the LeBlanc
is able to both be aggressive and heal up the Aphelios.
I'm just going to say, Cetra, they're flying through this draft. They know exactly what they wanted to do coming in. Aphelios, LeBlanc, Bard picked up. We saw LeBlanc banned away before. Corki picked up for Ignitus. That was also banned by Cetra last time around. So maybe some more comfort picks coming in for Aethys. Maybe he can be even more devastatingly strong than he was on the Victor in game 1.
Yeah, and Corki definitely has the potential to do that amount of damage earlier on in the game, and with the package potential, able to roam around and make some things happen as well. But Cetra going to ban out the Kindred, Ignitus is going to ban out the Ornn, so we'll see a couple of new picks banning out the Shen as well, which makes a lot of sense with an Aphelios comp. You don't want them to have as many tools to protect the Aphelios later on as possible, so taking out the Shen makes a lot of sense, and we'll see what else Cetra wants to end up banning here, putting a lot of focus on these 80 junglers that we know Ignitus likes to play.
Yep, the Graves and the Kindred are gone. We do know that Peanut likes his Mumu, so maybe that could get picked up some extra CC, or maybe we'll see something more like the Lee Sin or the Rek'Sai to come through as the Janna gets it taken away from Wizard.
All right, so it's very interesting to me that an 80 carry main playing support would play Janna. That seems less of a pick that someone that plays that aggressive would play. But there's Jarvan, so a lot of teamfight presence. Not quite a Mumu. It's not Curse of the Sad Bullet time, but it is the Cataclysmic Bullet time. So lots of teamfight presence already on the side of Ignitus because, Cataclysm into bullet time into Corki rockets and phosphorus bombs and packages. Lots of AoE for Cetra to go around. And it is a jungler that can get onto the Aphelios and force him to have to flash out of the Cataclysm or force him to reposition himself. And there is the Trundle, expecting the tank Jarvan just pick up the Trundle. And we're finally going to see what Cetra has in, because Trundle can still technically go top, not quite as versatile in the top lane, but a split-pushing monster who will require people to be up there to challenge him. But it is going to be the Jace being picked up into the set, and Jace is one of those champions. Well, that's the thing, is that it doesn't have to be set. But picking Jace just shows that you want to play around your top lane, because Jace definitely can make things happen early on. And if it does end up being into set, Jace is really good in the set. So you're probably right. It probably is going to force out another top lane pick, and set would probably go support in this case, which is kind of rough because set into range supports is a rough time. And there is Maokai, but Maokai can be played support now too. That is a thing that people do as well. So we're going to have to see where Ignitus decides to put people.
So I guess what you could say here is the set is not set for the top lane, and neither is the set for the support role. The set is actually flexible and can go top or support.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't like my pun, so I guess I don't have to like your pun.
No,
but
you don't have to like it, but you need to like it. Also, I'm just going to be honest with you as well here, Gus. Right? This is an open space. I feel comfortable to talk about my insecurities. Let's say. I don't like the Trundle. I didn't like it in game 1. I don't like it in game 2. I just don't like Trundle.
I mean, Trundle has a place. And with Maokai being picked up, if this is Maokai top lane, and he's just going to build full tank and do Maokai things, Trundle does make sense. But you didn't necessarily pick it knowing they would pick Maokai. You probably had an inkling from your scouting that it would be something that they would play once you banned out Shen and forced Set to probably go somewhere else. But I agree. I think just picking Trundle just for the sake of having a Trundle on your team is kind of a waste of a jungle pick, because there are lots of other picks that can do more. Like Zach, we were just talking about what champions we thought were really strong. We were talking about Graves and Set and Yuumi, and we brought up Zach right before we came back up to live and didn't even really get a chance to talk about it. Zach is really strong right now. And I would have liked the Zach pick in the jungle, kind of blind into not knowing exactly who is going where, better than I would have liked just picking Trundle into just seeing Set and Jarvan as your tank options. Because Jarvan isn't really going to kill anyone later on once the Aphelios has some items and is able to actually deal with them. Base damages, Jarvan can kill people early on. Later on, when he's building tank and doesn't have any AD behind it, the Cataclysm is just there to mildly inconvenience your ADC until they flash out, right? Yeah. Trundle seems kind of out of place here.
Yeah, and I mean, as you said, Trundle has a specific place. and that belongs opposite a Sejuani or opposite the aforementioned Zac. If those two aren't picked up, I don't want to see a Trundle. Right? Just don't even have it in the game.
I think Zac would
I don't
actually
know.
complement Cetra's team comp a lot more because Zac is super reliable engaged. And looking at Cetra's team comp, they're kind of playing the kite back from Ignitus game here. They're waiting on Ignitus to go in and just kite back with Bard, with LeBlanc and Aphelios and Jace. They're just trying to kite back for as long as possible and try to pick up some kills while they're kiting back. If they had a Zac instead of the Trundle, they would have options to engage and try to make picks with something other than the Tempered Fate from Bard. Because that's a pretty big cooldown, and you don't necessarily want to use it to make picks. You don't want that as your only tool to make things happen. And while Jace and LeBlanc are pretty good at finding people out of place and picking them off, having something like the Zac would have made it a million times easier.
Yeah. But then again, Cetra, they've gone with this support. They've got the bar. They have that invulnerability. It's not the Cosmic Radiance. It is the Tempered Fate. But when you do look at the comp from Cetra, it feels more potent. If they do get into, those full-on 5v5 team fights, you'd look towards the side of Ignitus, and Ignitus just looks so much stronger in the 5v5.
Definitely. Double AD carry, or double marksman, I guess is the terminology nowadays, but because obviously Corki deals magic damage, mostly. But Misfortune and Corki is a very strong mid-game team fighting combination. And especially Corki scales even better now that he's building Muramana and taking Presence of Mind. So much damage to come out of the Muramana once it's completed from the Corki. Just tons and tons of damage. The old freak saying out in force nowadays with Corki. And Misfortune, she is good in lane. And she's good mid-game, but she still itemizes crit, so she has a pretty all-right late game as well. Obviously, it's not Aphelios' late game, but it's decent enough.
Yeah, that Misfortune can scale well. I mean, to be fair, we saw Shincal picking up some early kills on the Vayne. If he can get some early kills on the Misfortune, this is actually a champion that can snowball. This is a champion that can snowball. So we'll have to see how Ignitus do. How they will perform. Obviously, they are looking for the 2-0 clean sweep against Cetra. And as we mentioned before, it was a very, very even game in game 1. And, well, maybe Cetra can hopefully take us to a game 3. But on that note, a quick word from our sponsors over at Kono Keyboards. If you are looking to take your game to the next level, it all starts with your peripherals. From keyboards to keycaps, mice, and more, our friends at Kono have got you covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best gaming peripherals around. Kono have been huge supporters of us here at Upsurge and have made generous contributions to our prize pools. If you need to find a new keyboard, if you need to find a new keyboard, check out the Hexgears X1 RGB low-profile Bluetooth mechanical keyboard. You can use the discount code UpsurgeGG for 7% off your first order. For more information, head over to kono.store to check out all they have to offer. That's KONO.store. Kono, discover amazing products. And on that, we will be heading into a short break, and we'll be right back for Game 2 of the night. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we make our way onto the Rift for Game 2 of the night. And straight on up, Cetra Gaming, they're going with the 5-man stack, looking to invade through the top side here, Gus.
Yeah, and Shinneman walking right into the tri-bush. We'll see if he walks on out and ends up walking into him. He will spot him out, and we'll see if they want to commit any flashes. Not going to just... as a top laner... You know, you go into your bush, and then you see 5 people coming out at you, and you're just like, whoa, hey guys, what's going on?
Well, if it doesn't work the first time, you try and try again. Ethereal Chains will land onto Peanut. The Ignite comes through as well. Flash forward, jump, and Logic picks up first blood for the side of Cetra Gaming. Well, that's how you want to start off a game 2.
Yeah, and, you know, we criticized the Trundle pick a bit in the draft. Did get first blood, so we'll see if Logic can have more of an impact. So, I don't think he actually ended up getting a kill in that game number 1 there. But we'll start out with boots. So as Trundle, you know, you have to run around and auto attack things. So getting the boots early on is a big time boon for your early game. So we'll see what he can accomplish with that. Especially because he's got 2 solo laners who definitely can make things happen in lane. And that he can play around either one of them. You know, that was always the meme of NA Jace because no one played around topside in the LCS when Jace was super popular. And we've seen other regions like Korea and China play around Jace very effectively. So, you know, and LeBlanc is LeBlanc. So lots of things for Logic to play around in his solo lanes while Greco on the Aphelios scales on up.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Logic did not pick up a kill in the last game. So starting off a strong, maybe he heard us at the end of last game and said, you know what, I got to show them. I got to show that I am capable of getting the kills as well, the Cosmic Binding lands on to Wizard, but it doesn't really do any significant damage. Also worth mentioning, Wizard has picked up the Omni Stone over the Aftershock.
Yeah, and Omni Stone it's a lot of fun on set. You know, you never know what exactly you're going to get. You get Predator a lot once you have the boots, which helps out set, able to run a lot quicker. But I'd like to point out that Bard skin. That Bard skin is just a work of art, man.
What even is that skin?
Astronaut Bard. I don't know if that's the official name, but it's like Astronautilus. But there's a chain onto Aethys.
The ethereal chains come through, but Peanut with a flying drag flashed away as the mirror image comes through. Eel, he's burning down one more auto, and Eel will get taken down. Aethys picks up the kill, and the bot side, a lot of damage coming through with the Haymaker, but it's a 1 kill for 1. As her top side, here we go. Shinneman looking aggressive as Peridian will find the knock back, and will just be an even trade.
Shinneman was super close to picking up the kill on Peridian. Peridian barely got out of tower range when the Twisted Advance came in, and when he got knocked back, he did not have turret aggro. Otherwise, he would have died.
Flash forward. Wizard almost picking up the kill, but a good flash away from 701 to deny the face break, and that's both flashes down for the supports. But Wizard does have that Hex Flash available.
Yeah, and does have a Comet now, so if he's able to land another Haymaker, we'll have that extra bit of damage, and when Misfortune lands those double-ups, you know, you end up getting poked down, and here's Jarvan looking for something.
Flag and drags, but he's locked down under turret. Gravitum comes through. One more flash forward, the heal will keep him alive. Face breaker, and Greco gets taken down on a knife's edge. We said at the start that this game would be tight, and it's looking like it will be that way as Logic turns up the top side, will now look to run it down. A Shinneman, a 701, getting aggressive, looking for some damage onto Peanut. Flag and drag, Peanut picks up the kill. Locks down Shinneman. Logic takes the kill of 5 kills in 4.5 minutes, Gus.
Yeah, this game starting out hot and spicy, fresh off the grill, and it's a pretty big difference compared to game 1 where, you know, game 1 was all about the bottom lane and that double kill that Shin was able to pick up. We got action all over the map so far in game 2. Logic 2-0, really making sure that we understand, hey, Trundle can do stuff, man, all right? Don't be bagging on my troll boy.
This is the game where only Logic will have kills for his team. Nobody else gets kills this game. It's just the Ice Troll. Oh. If that happens, If that happens, you know what? If that happens, I'm saying that now. I'm going to be putting the subscription over on a Twitch. Wizard goes in, Hex on flash, Phase Breaker, Haymaker, one more flash forward, and the double upper picks up the kill for Shincal. 1-0-1. And once again, he's picking up kills for his side, but this time, hopefully he won't go and throw it away.
Yeah, and he's playing a champion who's more well-equipped to make do with an early lead compared to Vayne. You know, Misfortune definitely able to take advantage of, but Peanut's going to walk into Logic.
Logic says, hi, meet my club. And Peanut says, meet my bot lane. And Logic says, okay, you know what? I'll see you later.
I believe Trundle's club is named Bone Shiver, if I'm not mistaken. But that's a little.
Gives their club a name?
Trundle, the king of the trolls. Our production guy is one of the biggest lore guys I know, so he knows what I'm talking about.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he'll clarify it for us as well. As a topside Cinnamon and Peridian just doing top laner things, just smacking each other while doing absolutely no damage whatsoever. 10 CS lead in the bot lane for Shincal as well, and we do have that Cloud Drake spawning up, which means that we're going to get no pesky Cloud Rift. We can get something entertaining, like an Infernal or an Ocean Rift.
Yeah, and it looks like Peridian going for Blade of the Ruin King on Jace into the Maokai. You know, makes sense. Jace gets to take advantage of the melee when he swaps forms, so we'll actually be able to make use of it, especially because the cheeky Jace trick where you press W range form and swap to melee form and you still get the crazy W attack speed. So you get to bop him 3 times with the melee Blade of the Ruin King. So lots of damage to come out of there. Chain does miss up though for Eel, so he won't have any pressure, but there's another Hex Flash.
Hex Flash into the Face Breaker. The damage is disgusting. Greco, the Ignite, ticks down. Another kill going the way of Ignitus as the bullet. Not quite enough, as you mentioned, the potion coming in a clutch there for 701, but I don't think Shincal will mind it too much, except for the fact he has to live with the fact that his support has more kills than him.
Yeah, oh well, but that right there from 701 is why you pop your potions at the start of the fight. So that way it gives time to start regenning, so that way because if he had popped his potion later, he would have died. There's no way around that. Or if Shincal had autoed and then reset with the Q, could have picked up the kill. But either way, Ignitus looking real good off the start. Even though Cetra did pick up some early kills, they're already building up a bit of a gold lead.
They are indeed almost at 2k, and the first streak has not even been picked up yet. And now 701 on that bard. He's going to be starting to roam around. He's hovering over this mid lane. Will be looking to find something onto Aethys as top side. Top lane is doing top laner things. Shinnamin with no mana. And 701 will just walk out of that with the magical journey.
Yeah, and now Logic did pick up the Rift Herald, so this is a real good chance to really accelerate this Jace. Use this Rift Herald topside, because Maokai's has no mana to defend himself here, so going to be forced off. Trying to get as many plates into your Jace as you can, and this is the textbook way to play around a champion like Jace or Renekton in the top lane, is just to try to carry them. Not going to pop the Shelly just yet, though. You want to try and save that for the last 3 plates, since they have more armor and MR, and Shelly does true damage, but they're going to try to push one more wave in. But playing around your early game top laners as a jungler is one way to make them succeed. Otherwise, you get bad things, and wow, there's a suplex.
Oh, actually, that caused me binding. Oh, denied the bullet time. Perfect timing, quite literally, for 701. Shelly gets a charge up, but the first hurt will not come through. That time, Wizard had his full flash up, and he did not hesitate to use it in the slightest.
Here comes Hex Flash.
Cosmic Binding, though, will find the slow. You know, we said we want Wizard on something aggressive. What do we want him to play for game 3? Thresh? Blitzcrank?
Yeah, either of those would be fun. Swain support's pretty fun. You never know, but Set's pretty aggressive. I think Set's a good champ for Wizard. Or Bard. He could play Bard too. Another champ who takes Omni Stone and can be really aggressive.
I remember once over in EU, in a series I played in, the casters gave a term to me, or described me in a specific way, and I've been hoping for a time to use it, and I think now is the time. If a god came down to Wizard of Diablo, he would try to engage on God.
Yeah, I mean, not sure he's one of those ADC players who's just like, support's so free, you can literally do whatever you want. So then he starts doing whatever he wants and it just works. But that's kind of the vibe I get from him. He's got Predator now too, with Swifties.
I don't even know what to say. Every time he has Hex Flash up, he just sits at a bridge and he Hex Flashes. It doesn't even matter if the time is right or not. He's just going to go for it. And I think he might be putting off Greco and 701 slightly. They're thinking, this is not how bot lane is supposed to go.
Yeah, he does have blue as the secondary, does have the Nimbus cloak. So, does have that extra movement speed when he Hex Flashes as well. So lots of tricky ways for Set to get the movement speed to run on in and make things happen. And Hex Flash, counts as a summoner spell, so gets to use the Nimbus Cloak all the time.
Another Cosmic Binding coming through, but it's just 701 trying his best to poke. With a Rift Herald for the Drake trade, it hasn't mean that Cetra Gaming have been able to close that goal lead. It's sitting at about 1k gold. Magical Journey comes through 701. On the run, Peanut, does he want to go in? No, he does not.
Oh,
but yes, he does.
Went down.
Flag and drag. The Ignite down. A Face Breaker into the Haymaker. Wizard picks up the kill as topside Peridian looking for some damage. Out comes the Nature's Cross. That's a fair amount as the Sapling will charge a fourth. Not quite landing onto Peridian, though.
Yeah, Jace doesn't have the Blade of the Ruin King completed just yet, but just Ninja Tabby alone does mitigate a ton of Jace's damage early on. And, it's just kind of like last game where the set needed Bork and Black Cleaver to really start doing some damage there. And it's going to be kind of the same thing with Jace.
It might very well be. The Blade of the Ruin King picked up almost a 30 CS ahead of his top lane counterparts. Peanut has been spotted on a Grump, and Logic says, hey, I'm 2-0. I have all of the kills on my team. Get out of my jungle.
Though.
Ethereal chains Eel into the Pillar of Ice. Eel picks up the kill, and it will not be 100% kills going over to Logic this game. Maybe game 3 he can have a shot of it. As a Wizard just getting run down. Cosmic Binding misses his mark, and now the turnaround. Out comes the Moonlight Vigil, and it will be enough to force the Ignitus bot lane back.
Yeah, and you can tell that 701 plays Bard. Looking at his position, he was always positioning to where he could stun both Wizard and Shin with his Cosmic Binding there. Didn't get the bullet to stun out the bullet time this time. Looks like bullet time was used to clear the wave to push it up. The first tower will go over to Cetra and on the Jace. And looking at the gold differential, he's up 1,200 gold over the Maokai. So that's kind of where you want your Jace to be at this point in the game, is to have a pretty good gold lead, have pressure in the top side, so that way he can start to shove in and look to roam, or just shove in and get towers when Maokai comes to help his team. But like I said, we'll need Black Cleaver before he can really just kind of roam top lane with impunity, because Maokai does do a lot of base damage.
Yeah, and on top of that, well, Shinkal and Wizard are doing very well for themselves, especially Wizard at 3-0 for Ignitus Esports. There's a Eel almost getting caught out as a Wizard just comes to say a hi in the mid lane, but will just walk off after clearing a couple of wards.
Yeah, and now we do have the Mountain Drake up, which is a Drake that Ignitus does want, seeing as they're the team with the two big tanks. Whatever bonus resistances you can give to them will help out later on. And we do see that Peridian and Shinman are down here. Both do not have teleports, so walking on down to this dragon. But like we were talking about in draft, it looks like Ignitus has the comp that's more suited for these team fights. So we're going to see if they can put that to the test right now.
Yep, the Mountain Drake is getting started up as a magical journey. It comes through, looking to find the damage onto Aethys. Nature's Grasp will be summoned just to give
Tempered Fate
enough time. Oh, the Tempered Fate will delay the Drake out of the bullet time. 701 gets taken down. The Drake won't even fully reset. Drake has been secured by Ignitus, and now they look for more flag and drag. Cataclysm comes through, will land honor to Greco as the Jace has been taken down, and Ignitus are looking for more. Surely the kill will go over to Aethys, and indeed it does. 9 kills to 3 for Ignitus Esports.
And that was kind of just team comp difference there. We saw that bullet time come out, hitting 2 members big time. Hit a couple more at the start, but really put in some big work on to the 2 that got stuck in the middle of it. And, they pretty much wiped that team fight. They got the dragon. Now they're up 2 dragons to none. The gold lead has blown up to 3,000 gold at this point in the game at 15 minutes. And, as strong as Peridian is on the Jace, Maokai doesn't have to do a whole lot to be super effective in these fights. Him throwing out the Nature's Grasp and rooting people up when he's done with that, that's pretty much all Maokai really has to do in team fight.
3-0 for Shincal on the MF, 3-0 for Wizard, and 2-0 for Aethys. Rift Herald will be secured, and once again, it's a trade of Rift Herald for Drake, with Cetra Gaming picking up the Rifts. They've already taken 1 turret this game, although that has been evened up by Shincal just now taking the outer turret bottom side.
Yeah, and Aethys almost has the Muramana charged up, is sitting at 637 at a 750. So has Phage and Sheen and Sorcerer's Shoes. So Aethys is pretty strong right now. Obviously, once the Muramana is done and the Trinity Force is picked up, we'll hit that crazy mid-game power spike with the Muramana, Trinity Force, crazy Sheen procs. And once Shimcal finishes up that Infinity Edge, will be super strong, but does get caught up by a Cosmic Binding, but no follow-up.
Yeah, not enough time.
Uh-oh, Peridian.
Shincal. Oh, speaking of catches, Peridian with the flash will get a nice bit of movement speed and will be able to escape as well. But, just going back onto Aethys' kind of scaling on that Corki, I always feel that it's almost exponential. Once he gets the Triforce, then it's the Infinity Edge next, then it's the Rapid Fire Cannon, and they all just feel like such a big spikes. Here we go again in the mid lane. Oh, the phase breaker into the Haymaker is disgusting. Shincal onto a rampage. Logic getting burnt down. Now the focus goes on to 701. Magical Journey. Look at the missiles. The stopwatch will come through. Logic almost gets taken down in the process as Aethys wants more, but will not be able to find any. Is there anything Eel can do? Chains of Corruption that comes through, and Eel forced to dash away with the Distortion. Will just be the 1 kill going the way of Ignitus.
Yeah, and it looked pretty rough for Wizard at the start. Got dropped down pretty low, but was able to alley-oop into the bullet time. And Greco is 0-5 on this Aphelios, so not going to be relevant in this game for quite a while. Is going the Infinity Edge first, so looking for that 3-item power spike with the Infinity Edge and the 2 Zeal items, but that seems like an eternity away right now. Looking at what Shincal has, the Essence Reaver and the BF Sword for Infinity Edge. You look at the Corki, he's almost got Trinity Force done, just needs about 1,000-ish more gold and he'll have the Trinity Force. His Muramana is on the verge of completion, and there it is right there. And everything is coming up Ignitus right now, and you saw that, in theory, Bard is a really good counter to the Misfortune Ultimate. However, there is a travel time on the Tempered Fate, and it allowed some of that bullet time wave to get on through before the Tempered Fate came down. And that little bit of bullet time was really all it took to kill Greco.
Yeah, and it's just so easy for any member of Ignitus Esports just to absolutely delete, well, pretty much everyone from the side of Cetra, maybe with the exception of Logic. We do have an Infernal Drake spawning in just under a minute. It is an Infernal Rift, and, well, I think the side of Ignitus Esports will be very, very happy to grab a few of those.
Definitely make Corky's poke even more crazy than it already is. Hit a rocket, get the Infernal Soul proc, and hit him with a Trinity Force Muramana auto afterwards. That's a lot of damage to come out of someone who's not even really committing to you. So definitely something that Cetra's going to have to look out for, is they got to find a way to get team fights rolling. And Peridian and Yule haven't really been able to do a whole lot with these early mid-game focused champions in the LeBlanc and the Jace. Greco's been getting picked on, so he's not going to provide a whole lot to many team fights. And we've got this first Infernal Drake up, and no one on the side of Cetra is even anywhere remotely near the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, they're all topside. It's almost like they forgot that Drake was going to be spawning as Aethys.
I was going to say, he was running around a little bit, looking kind of interesting. Looks like he was trying to get in a different position to cut Logic off, but turns out he was just DC'd. He does have Trinity Force now, however, so is very strong right now. Has the Muramana fully charged up, has the Trinity Force, has an Infernal Drake behind his AD and AP now as well, and they're one Drake away. They're on Soul Point, and it's looking rough for Cetra right now because they do need some time to scale up this Aphelios before they can really even look to stand a chance in team fights.
Yeah, Wizard of Diablo stepping forward, just trying to find any way. We know he wants to engage on someone. He always does. As bottom side, Shinramin is going to be able to live the Wizard dream, just dashing in with the Bramble Smash as the package just will take Aethys away from Eel, who's starting to find a little bit too much damage on that LeBlanc.
Yeah, and that is one thing Aethys can do if you really feel certain by LeBlanc, is buy a Hex Drinker on Corki. Generally, you would do that earlier on, but at this point, he's probably just saying, you know what, I'm just going to build that Infinity Edge, that Rapid Fire, or Phantom Dancer, whatever Zeal item his heart desires, and become that late-game monster Corki. And now Shincal has the Infinity Edge as well. Is caught out by this Tempered Fate, though.
Pillar of Ice gets dropped as well. They're looking for the damage as 701 will flash out of the Cataclysm. Shincal gets locked down by the Gravitum, and now
there's LeBlanc
from finds the delete onto Shincal. Beautiful stuff from Eel, and that's exactly what we wanted to see him doing on that assassin.
Yeah, the only bad thing about that was did have to use both summoner spells to accomplish that kill. However, getting that shutdown is good. Will lead to LeBlanc having a pretty decent amount of gold. Got 650 gold off that shutdown there. So feeling pretty good. Did finish Ludens, I do believe, or finish the Oblivion Orb rather. So, you know, LeBlanc is starting to get online. It's just later on in the game, it becomes just hard to pilot LeBlanc. But here comes 701.
701 magical journey in, as out come the grasping roots. Is Shinramin on the run, but here comes the Wizard. He says, hello, remember me, 701? I'm your good old support buddy. I'll take that kill, thank you very much. 4-0 on the set, and he's probably waiting.
Oh no, they're doing Baron on a ward.
Oh no, well this is almost deja vu from Cetra. But Eel might spot out Aethys. He does. He has the damage. Will he go in?
Oh, he auto-distortion!
But he picks up the kill so close from Aethys. Well played by Eel, and it will just be the kill going the way of Cetra.
Oh, the face breaker.
Yeah,
Wizard
goes right in. As comes the bullet time. Another kill going the way of Wizard. And now he's waving over to Shincal saying, hey, look, I got more kills than you. Support's easy.
As Aphromu once said, support is so easy. When you're 5-0 on set, support is easy. But here's another Tempered Fate on the Shincal.
Oh no. And there is no one to save Shincal, although Wizard smells a fight, and Wizard is here. He says, hi, I want to be part of this. Can I do something? And Neil says, sure, mate, let's have a little trade, but nobody dies.
Yeah, and we do have about a minute and a half left for Soul Point for Ignitus, and this team fight might be the team fight that decides the series. And you look, Shincal picked up a Hex Drinker. Aethys has the pieces of a Hex Drinker as well. They know that this next fight could be the series, could be the 2-0 for them. So they're really investing into some defensive stats here with the Hex Drinker, getting that MR and that shield to make sure that Yule and whatever magic damage 701 puts out isn't what kills them in this fight. They're going to force it to be Peridian or Logic or Greco to be the ones to really put the nail in their coffin for this next fight. Because once they get Soul, man, it's so hard for Cetra to do much of anything in this game.
Yeah, once Soul is picked up by the side of Ignitus, well, those infernal little pulses of damage, as I believe they are technically referred to, will be so huge. But Il is at 3-1. He's got the Oblivion Orb. He's got the Ludens. He's starting to dish out the damage. We saw him finding that pick onto Shinkal, and if he can find something else like that in the next fight, it might be enough to turn that fight to Cetra Gaming's favor. You know, we were talking in the picks and bans as well. The 5v fight just seems so much stronger for Ignitus against Cetra.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's going to be up to Yule to really pilot this LeBlanc effectively, to find the flanks, find the angles to get in and put damage down onto Aethys and Shinkal, the priority targets. Because, you know, if Yule gets them low enough, Greco can like Moonlight Vigil and try to pick up the kill from far away, or Peridian can land an accelerated shock blast and try to pick up a kill. But other than that, it seems really hard for Peridian and Greco to function in these team fights. There's just not enough space for them to get in and really put out any meaningful damage. Greco does have the Infinity Edge completed and has another Cloak of Agility. So we're sitting at the 45% crit chance. But when you're 0-6 on Aphelios and you look at your opposing ADC and they have another BF sword item completed and have the luxury of building a Hex Drinker, and you're over here riding the struggle bus, it feels really bad.
It does indeed. And Peridian and Eel, I feel like it just has to come down to them. They need to be able to find that poke. They need to be, as you mentioned, find those accelerated shock blasts. Eel needs to be able to find those distortions. And more importantly, he needs to be able to do it safely as well without getting caught out, which I feel sounds much easier said than done.
Yeah, and Aethys should have the Hex Drinker completed by the time this dragon is completed with this next wave that's coming up. He did help himself to the Krugs up there too. So should have enough for the Hex Drinker to be completed. So both carries will have the Hex Drinker, which just makes Yule's job that much harder.
Yeah, that Hex Drinker is going to be so big. Aethys and Peanut, well, they're getting closer to it. Although I think maybe Peanut might even be going for, well, I almost feel a separate item. Maybe it could be a Zeeks or even a...
It might just be a Locket.
Oh, Locket.
Locket would make sense because you can block out a bit of LeBlanc's distortion damage. But it might just be... I don't know. There's a lot of different things he can do. He does have a Knight's Vow, and it looks like he has it hooked up to Corki right now. Or actually, he doesn't even have it hooked up to anyone yet. He doesn't have the little ring under him, so... Hasn't been able to hook up the Knight's Vow yet, but we do have another turret going down. So now Aethys will definitely have Hex Drinker on back. Does have package available as well. So, you know, Yule landing a bit of poke on the Peanut does, you know, 200 damage. The Honey Fruit negates all that. And we're going to have to see what Cetra can do here because it looks like some pretty insurmountable odds right now.
Aethys is on his way down, and he has that Hex Drink available. This is what you were talking about, Gus. And all of that vision that Cetra just set up is slowly getting deleted.
Shinemin!
But is there the damage? Shinemin on the run. Surely will get taken down. Indeed he will. But can Ignitus turn this back around in their favor? Wizard just buying time while the rest of Ignitus has to take the break. Bullet time comes through. So much damage, so many kills. But the fight will go the way of Cetra. Shinkal looking for damage. He finds another couple. But it will be 5-4-3 in favor of Cetra. And now they will take their first Drake of the game.
And they found that bit of a miracle fight. They got the pick onto Shinemin, and Wizard, probably to the detriment of his team, decided to go on in with the showstopper. And at that point, you know, there was a lot of damage that came out from Shinkal and Aethys, but the bullet time did get canceled by a well-timed Tempered Fate. I believe only like 3 or 4 waves of bullets got fired out of that bullet time. And Aethys came in and did a lot of damage, but wasn't able to pick everything up. And you saw Shinemin get absolutely destroyed by LeBlanc. Just had the one null magic mantle for MR. Now it does have the cloak, the Spectre's Cowl, rather. So it does have a bit of MR and HP now to try and deal with that. That was a fantastic pick from Cetra to realize that Shinemin was caught out. Didn't have a bunch of MR, so Yule could burst him. And then Wizard, being what he is, what we've seen of him in this series, went in. And unfortunately, it was a bad time for him to go on in without the Maokai. because he was in that fight for a good 3 seconds before anyone could follow up with him.
Yeah. He does not have that gargoyles, but actually I don't want to place the blame on Wizard, because from when that fight started, that fight started, oh my god, I really got my words mixed up there. From when that fight started, I got the feeling that the side of Ignitus, they wanted to send Wizard in just to buy time so that the rest of the team could just burn down that Infernal, but maybe it was a bit of a split decision. Maybe that's not what they were going for. They all turned and, well, they just didn't have the damage to win the fight.
Yeah, Greco actually picked up the double kill there. Now it does have the Runon's Hurricane completed, so Felio's still behind, but got accelerated a little bit there with those 2 kills coming in. I believe they might have been shutdowns too, so actually it doesn't look like any shutdowns actually happened for Aphelios, which is a little unfortunate for the side of Cetra, but still, being able to complete another item on your scaling ADC is really important, especially since Shincal has another Zeal now, so is it sitting at the 75% crit threshold? So very strong, and 701 went in.
Oh, he doesn't find the Cosmic Binding. Now the turnaround coming through. It's a 3v2. The Tempered Fate will not come through in time, and that's a kill going the way of Ignitus. And with a Baron up as well, that could be a crucial overstep from 701.
Yeah, both supports getting a little froggy jumping on in, but you know, Prydian trying to do what he can down here on this bottom side, and I don't know if Logic and Greco can be the ones to stop this, because Yule is taking quite a bit of damage from this set support.
He is indeed, and Wizard just trying to turn it back around. Baron down to 5,000 HP. I'm looking to Eel to find potentially something. Logic shows up. As you mentioned, the damage coming through. Bullet time comes in. Greco will get taken down, but look at the Baron. It's still up, still low, but it will not get taken down just yet. Logic gets a run down. Aethys will pick up the kill. Baron
can you steal it?
2,000 HP. Eel goes it. Oh my god, he actually steals the Baron. Are you kidding me? But there's only 2 members who remain standing for the side of Cetra Gaming, the magical journey, but Shincal is on the chase. He wants the kill, but he will get instantly binded to the wall, and what a steal from Eel.
I think that was just a sigil of malice that came in at the very end, because Peanut had to smite the Baron, I think, to try to survive, tried to get a bit of health back, and just, wow. Fantastic from Yule to try and buy his team more time. We do have a minute left on the Infernal Soul, so taking that Baron definitely bought Cetra a bit of a lease on life.
That was just so huge from Cetra, and you know, you can't really fault Ignitus, because they try to play that so well. They try to keep the Baron just above that kind of execute threshold for as long as they can, but Eel played that magnificently.
Yeah, and Aethys even killed Logic on the other side, so they were thinking, all right, he's dead. I think we can do this now. Like, I don't have smite. I needed it to smite to survive. And then just cheeky little LeBlanc out of nowhere.
Well, that Baron might be enough to keep Cetra Gaming going for a little bit longer, especially with another Infernal spawning in just a few seconds time. This might be the point that we look back on in 10-15 minutes time and say, this is how Cetra took us to a game 3. Ethereal Chains will not land onto Peanut. There's just 2 members in the river. Now 3 for the side of Ignitus. Do Cetra want to step up? How greedy can they go for the vision play?
Yeah, and Aethys is sitting in base now, waiting with the package, waiting to teleport. There it goes. Does have a stopwatch and a BF sword, so here's the fight.
Here comes the fight, Nature's Grasp, and there comes the package right in the middle. But the Pillar of Ice will deny the bullet time as Cal will get rooted down. He'll flash away. He'll lifesteal. Double kill for Aethys, double kill for Shincal. And now it is just Prydian who is left standing. Nobody is left with the Baron. Cetra have been taken down. Their Baron has been taken down. Oh, pardon me, Peridian does have a Baron available to him. I thought it was just 701 and Eel, but the Infernal has been taken. Infernal Soul is on Ignitus, and they are pushing forward mid and a bot. Where is the defense? Peridian goes in. He finds the knockback, and he will find the kill. No, he will not. Shincal turns it back around, and no more deaths just yet, as the inhibitor bottom side will get taken down as well. No, just about survives, and now potentially the turnaround. No, as Ignitus will be able to walk it out.
Yeah, and with the Infernal Soul, that's the good thing about the Soul, is that it's a permanent buff for the rest of the game. But Wizard potentially going to get caught out here a little bit.
He might very well do. He's 1v3, 1v4, 1v5 almost. Everyone on a Wizard, and he will get taken down, his third death of the game.
Yeah, but they do have the Infernal Soul. Baron is up in a little over 2 minutes, so we'll see if they wait for the Baron to come up before they fight again. Because the longer they wait, the stronger Greco is. Greco has 75% crit now. Has the Phantom Dancer completed as well as the Runons. So is, relatively strong all of a sudden. Has gotten 4 kills, does have some items. So is just down a level to Shincal, but, we've all seen what Aphelios can do in a game when he gets some items going. And things could get a little hairy here for Ignitus if they do not find an engage on their terms. But Aethys does have a Guardian Angel now as well, so foregoing the Infinity Edge, just raw AD and relying on that Muramana and those Trinity Force procs as of now.
Yeah, and something else I want to mention is you hear sometimes people talking about taking that Soul Drake at the right time. We now have a Baron that's coming up in 1 minute. We have the Elder Drake in at 3.5 minutes. We've seen Eol find 1 steal. If he steals that Elder Drake, it could be absolute disaster for Ignitus.
It definitely could be. Aphelios does a bunch of AoE with the Chakrams as well as having the Rune on, so there's a lot of incidental AoE to come out. And with the Elder Drake requiring you to only get dropped down to 20% or 25%, whatever the threshold is nowadays, it's been changed here and there. But when you're not allowed to play with your full health bar, it makes things a little bit difficult.
Execution is calling, pardon me, has also been picked up by Shincal. Not going for that Bloodthirster, wanting the Grievous Wounds instead, which I'm going to guess is mainly for Logic and 701's healing.
Yeah, and that will likely be upgrading to the Mortal Reminder as soon as the gold permits. Is actually pretty close, has about 1,700 gold in the inventory, so it won't be too much longer for that. But Baron is up about now, just a few seconds left on that. And Peridian trying to force some side lane pressure, but still just not able to do a bit of damage to Shinneman when he's able to sit there and fight, and when Shinneman doesn't proc his passive. But we'll see what ends up happening. Yeah, there's a teleport available, so Peridian should be able to get this tower on this next push, because Shinneman went back. Baron already down to half, though. They're doing it so quick.
They are doing it very quick indeed. Shinneman hasn't even channeled the TP. In it comes now. Tempered Fate will be able to lock down Shincal as the fight will erupt. Out comes the Nature's Cross, but Pina has already been taken down. Wizard getting focused out as out comes the bullet time. Will be able to find one onto Eel. That's another kill going the way over onto Cetra Gaming as Greco surviving on just a sliver of HP. But look at the damage. Shincal will find another. Well, actually goes the way of Aethys, I believe. 3 kills for Ignitus, and now they look for more as the missile barrage is absolutely disgusting, and Shinneman is not done yet. Looks to lock down Peridian, but decides against it. And I'm not gonna lie, I think that might just be about game here. Gus has a 3 members stronger will push forward for Ignitus, and they turn to the inhibitor firstly.
Yeah, it's Peridian versus the world, and I think he could probably kill Shincal or proc Aethys' Guardian Angel, but I don't really see a way for him to kill all 3. But they're going to back off and wait for Elder, it looks like.
They will indeed, and with 2 inhibitors down, all the turnaround, look at the damage from Aethys. Absolutely disgusting, but with 2 inhibitors down, it's going to be so so difficult for Cetra to contest this Elder Drake.
Yeah, and now Shinkel did pick up the Mortal Reminder, so it makes Logic's job that much harder. And we've seen Logic actually able to get in onto Shinkel, but hasn't actually been able to really pick up the kill. Shinkel's had flash or has enough lifesteal to make it through. And you see Aethys doing a bunch of damage, but Wizard might be getting caught out.
He might be getting caught up, but will the Hunter become the hunted? 701 gets deleted as Shinkala is dominating. The bullet time will not be able to find as much. Cataclysm comes through. Wizard getting taken down super low, but will be able to run out. Logic chasing. But out comes the Haymaker. So much damage. Aethys goes the legendary. Eel gets absolutely one shot. That's a 4 kill. The Shock Blast will not be able to take down Wizard, and a 5-member strong of Ignitus will push her through. They don't need the Elder. They don't need the Baron. They just want the Nexus, and they will be looking to take their second 2-0 over the Upsurge Minor League Summer Split. Shinneman will just stand there. The final Nexus turret will fall, and Ignitus will go with 3-0 and extend their lead to Cetra at the top of the standings.
Yeah, and a fantastic game from Aethys and Shinkel here, both picking up 12 kills, only dying twice. We do see Shinkel get a bunch more assists. That's likely just due to bullet time hitting people in team fights.
Yep.
But overall, both of these two, Aethys and Shinkel, had fantastic performances on their carries. Aethys started out game 1 a little rough, but ended up being the difference in that final team fight of game 1. And in this game, man, just on the corky, doing work. And Shinkel, we saw get the kills early on Vayne in game 1. In this game, just pretty much dominating from the word go on the Misfortune.
Yeah. Although, I feel like when we say dominating on the Misfortune, we have to remember Wizard was absolutely incredible.
Definitely. In lane, Hex flashing pretty much off cooldown, abusing the Nimbus cloak, getting that movement speed. I don't know how many times he Hex flashed, caught Greco in the Facebreaker. It was at least 3 or 4 times I can remember off the top of my head. Because Greco had a rough go. Did go 4-11 this game as the Aphelios. You are the priority target and everyone is gunning for you. So it's not too much of a surprise that once things started going downhill, he ended up dying that much. But man, it was up to Purdian and Yule to really try and carry this early game for Cetra. And while Purdian and Logic did set Shinneman behind a little bit, you have to do a bit better than putting the Maokai behind a little bit to make it really worth it. And Yule did have some picks. We saw the time he killed Shinkel coming out of nowhere, picking up the kill. But man, playing LeBlanc into a team comp like that is really rough to find the correct angles to where you can pick up a kill and not die as well. So it is just a rough go for Cetra this game too.
And I always like to give out a little MVP. Gus, surely it has to go to Wizard, or do you have someone else?
Sure, we'll give it to Wizard because of how he won that laning phase game 2 and game 1, the pressure he put out on the Nautilus. Shinkel definitely gets an honorable mention, as does Aethys.
Yep.
But Wizard, man, you're an ADC main playing support like an absolute Chad, and I love it.
Absolutely brilliant stuff from Wizard, our MVP for sure. Well, that is all that we have time for here on Upsurge for the Minor League Week 3. Ignitus Esports take the 2-0 against Cetra Gaming, and they are now 3-0 in the standings. Cetra Gaming are 1-2. Thank you, everyone, so much for your time. Gus, any final words before we wrap things up?
Oh, it was an honor to cast alongside you, and thanks to Hyper on production for making the stream as good as it can be, and thanks for coming out, everyone. It was a fun time.
It has absolutely been a pleasure to host you this evening. If you haven't already, make sure to hit on Upsurge with a follow on Twitch and a like on Twitter as well. or I should say a follow on Twitter. I've been your play-by-play caster, Milky Zero, joined by Gusta Posey in the caster booth. You've had Hypertension producing for you. Thank you very much for tuning in, and until next time, stay killer-proof on the Rift, and good night.